Anyways, as I've stated, all right, I'm Moots with Noah on Twitter. Me and Noah have spoken in DMs before. We are cordial and everything. Okay, this does not mean I have to agree with everything that Noah says. Everything that Noah says is his own words. With that being said, I do think who are basically like the subjects of this video? Isn't it a Vaush video and Xan? So this is just a continuation of what I experienced a couple weeks ago with all of my moots fighting. I woke up one day and all of my moots were fighting. Vaush and Noah was fighting. Xan and Noah were fighting. All my other moots were at each other's throats. I wake up. I'm like, boy, I can't wait for it to be a good day. And my moots, they're clubbing each other's heads in. And I thought I heard the end of it. I have not. I thought we came to a resolution. I have not, because now the debate bro video essayist kerfuffle has continued again. It got sparked off one more time when FD signifier hit the scene, dropped his video about BreadTube. Now it's Noah coming back. It's all here again. So here we are on the front lines, on the vanguard of the war. I watch as the bombs drop, and I think, how do we get here? I guess it's time to find out. I love the Boy Scout drip. I used to be in Boy Scouts. Well, I was a Cub Scout when I was baby. Hello, Stinky. Hello. I'm working. Your nose is very wet. Thank you. All right, let's go take a look. Now, solving the debate bro problem. Noah is looking for a final solution to the debate bro question. The debate bro question which has been racking the minds of YouTube for a while. Noah has found the final solution, and it's time. It's finally time to enact. The DQ. It's time for order 69 to finally take down the debate bros to answer the debate bro question. Let's see what it's like, because I haven't watched just about any of this yet. What are the sections? Intro, Xan the man. Okay, this is about Xanderhal. Not up for debate. This sounds familiar. Vaush bad, hypothetically speaking. Knowledge and debate. There's there's bad but not in this video. Oh geez. Knowledge and debate. Identity politics, racism, the worst ones moving forward. Conclusion. Important announcement. Okay. All right.
Noah Samsen's a fucking idiot.
Noah? The coward, Noah Samsen, who said that he liked me in a video and then later posted like a minute-long retraction in the following video.
I have no problem with black creators getting really big. However, FD signifier is a dumb fuck.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Hassan Piker is an idiot. Nobody learns anything new from Hassan. I don't believe that Hassan is capable of defending socialism as a concept. I don't think he understands it enough to defend it as a...
Oh, geez. I didn't know Xan was on a warpath against all these people. Spicy Xan. This is just mean so far. Xan being edgy. Shut up, Xan. You do need to temper yourself a little bit. You must temper yourself a little bit. Now, I think I don't watch Hassan much, but the last time we watched Hassan when he debated Christian Walker, I was pleasantly surprised with how well he was able to defend his takes. I don't know where this clip came from. I don't know when this came out. Xan's just being vitriolic. See, it kind of makes me feel bad. The thing is, I was really mean on Twitter the other day, and it made me feel really bad. Like last night, I was just like sitting up, and I looked through some of my tweets, and someone tweeted at me, and they sounded like genuinely hurt by some stuff that I said, and I kind of felt bad. So I deleted a couple of tweets. Anyways, I don't know, but I don't know. Typically when I'm meaner, it's not like on stream, but you know, once he puts something on stream, even if he doesn't agree with this right now, or like sometime later, it's already here. So what are you gonna do?
The concept. Fuck you, FD signifier. Fuck you, Noah Samsen. Fuck you, Hassan Piker. Go fuck yourself. Don't be proud that you can't defend your ideas in a debate. Don't proudly exclaim to the online right and everybody watching that the left isn't and shouldn't defend their ideas. I'm sure that Noah Samsen will just feminism.
All right. What is this from? This is what the clip where it's from. Why LeftTube is dying and the anti-SJW wave is rising. BreadTube is dying. Anti-SJWs are rising. BreadTube is falling.
Okay, when I was a teenager.
Humongous.
Okay. Humongous what? Humongous what?
Just being like everywhere. Is just what I think of when I think 20 going on here, and I feel like I've done a pretty good job of substantiating that.
Okay, so what's the context of Zan's video? I think what he's saying basically is that if I remember correctly, because I watched a bit of this video, I wasn't able to finish the entire thing. What I think I remember him saying basically was that there's a bunch of new people around who are very anti-debate, and there's we're in another big like anti-debate like wave. They're saying like debate isn't very useful, or we don't get much from it, and or it just makes the entire environment around politics worse, right? I guess Zen was upset with the idea, and I don't like the idea either, that like debate isn't anything useful, because at the end of the day, like even though you may be able to, and we talked about this a little bit when it came to FD's video on this type of stuff, even though it may be, debate may not be like that good, and it may not be, right? Or it may not be super useful, and it may not be. All right. None of us have the knowledge on hand to be able to prove or disprove that. Even though that may or may not be true, at the end of the day, if I have any like minorities in chat, you're going to be debating your existence at some point in your life. It's going to happen. All right. Gandhi had to debate his existence. MLK had to debate his existence. Frederick Douglass had to debate his existence. It just happens that way. All right. It happens that way. It's going to keep happening. Whether you like it or not, it's something that's a part of the world and is going to keep happening. And you being good at it, you being good at the skill, you being able to quickly, concisely, and accurately debunk someone who's spewing just absolute lies is valuable to not only our movement, but to human rights in total. It's a good thing to be able to do. Is it going to like solve everything? Are we going to debate everyone into submission? No, but it's a good thing to be able to do. And for even if it doesn't like move everything forward, it does help you a lot. And I've been messaged by a lot of people who may be of a minority flavor, okay? And they've been empowered to live who they are because they've been able to get the skills enough to be able to debate their identity and their humanity against like a racist uncle or like a homophobic coworker or like a sexist like mutual friend or something, right? In like an awkward situation where if they weren't given any of these skills or don't know how to combat any of these ideas in like an open like a quick like face-to-face format, they would have just sat there and just taken abuse, and some people would have like laughed along or something along those lines, right? Whether you like it or not, it's something that exists in the world, and I think it's important for people to be able to use it. Why can't I just link a 4-hour video essay to a ringer? That's true. Just link them an hour-long video, and it's gonna all come up Millhouse.
Putting out another video about how debate bros are awful, and with the bisexual lighting and everything like that.
No, he's here.
Hi everyone, welcome back to this television show. I'm Noah Samsen, your host on google.com/youtube.com's best website, my channel. If you've got something that's gross or a little bit weird near you, like a garbage bag full of animal parts or something, get it out of there. Take out the trash. That's my #1 health foods tip of the day for today's day. Warning, warning, alert, alert, red alert, alert, alert. This is not an anti-debate bro video. This video is, and I hope we can improve our online conduct and get better at recognizing white supremacist structures in leftist communities video.
Okay, so this is what the video is going to. Clean your goblin nest. That's true. I know I got some goblins in chat. Clean your goblin nest, you filthy, disgusting freak. I love you, okay? I love you. That's why I say that, because I care about you. Bisexual lighting, dope. I can do bisexual lighting. My bad. Bisectional lighting. Stop it. I can do bisectional lighting. I just kind of choose not to. Fine. Goblin. Clean your room. Stop coping. It seemed like the video is going to revolve around like white supremacist structures and like like white supremacy and white supremacy flavors or rhetoric in the space that we're in right now.
This meme is very real.
We went through this a little bit with FD's video, so I'm accustomed to these sorts of arguments before. Like we said, we watched FD's video on it. Now we get to watch Samsen's video on it. Yeehaw. Let's see if it's much different.
It just so happens that in order to do this, we need to use a couple of debate bros as our Caucasian punching bags. But they won't mind. As a matter of fact, they like it. They love it even. They love it when this happens to them, and we love to see it. This video is sponsored by White on White Crime. I'm here to correct the record on some false...
Dude, I gotta tell you, being in left Twitch just proves white on white crime, okay? I'm not sure if it's that European war gene that's been carried down through the generations or something. But you know, like hearing all throughout history, the English fighting the Scottish, and the English fighting the French, and the French fighting the Germans, and the Spanish fighting the Germans, and the French fighting the Scots, and the Scots fighting the Swedes, and the Swedes fighting the Germans, and the Germans, you know, it's just there's something about it, okay? We need to put a halt to white people until we figure out what's going on. This white on white violence needs to stop. It's tearing our communities apart.
Falsehoods that are being spread around the D-boy zone, and also expand on my own personal criticisms of these spaces. I personally, and you can shit on the top of my head for saying this, but I personally think that people like Vaush have the ability to do a lot of good with their platforms. Teaching young people how to use arguments and rhetoric to push back against their 9 o'clock bedtimes for reasons not unrelated to gaming. Spreading socialism with Discord characteristics across the globe. No, but seriously, I do appreciate what he and other members of the live streaming community do.
That's
it's a different skill set.
Hey, wait!
Seriously, I do appreciate what he and other members of...
It's the guy! Hey, look, it's that guy. I've seen that guy before. Look at that guy. I've seen that guy. Wait, I like that guy. I know him. Sick guy, cool guy, great guy. I know him. He's me. He's me. I'm famous. That's me.
Very real.
It's me. It's me for real. Oh my gosh. This is taken from a little while ago. Oh wait. Oh no, actually, this is taken from not too long ago because we have 13,000 followers now. Thank you. We crossed 13,000 followers. Not only that, we crossed 100,000 views on Twitch. So, thank you. I love you guys. Give yourself a pat on the back. I love you. You're very pretty. You're very cool. Great guy and girl and they. I appreciate you. Thank you.
The live streaming community do. It's a different skill set that's important to have, and denigrating this community from the outside is the last thing that I want to do. That being said, there are some clear problems with the way that debate spaces operate that will only continue to arise until they are properly addressed, so that's why I'm here. I can fix them. Obviously that's not going to happen, but you know what they say, shoot for the moon, and when the bullet travels back to Earth, you'll kill a teenager in a nearby town. I brought a friend along with me for today's video. Why don't you come on out, buddy?
Whoa, hey everybody, it's me, Good Faith Gary.
It's Good Faith Gary! Hey! Bum, bum, ba-da. Bum, bum, ba-da. Bum, bum, ba-da, 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 bum, bum. We love Good Faith Gary. What a guy. Sick guy. Oh, what a guy.
This is Good Faith Gary. Everyone say hello.
Howdy, y'all.
No, not you. I'm telling them to say hello to you.
Oh, my bad.
Wait, Gary, aren't you just Clippy from the Windows thing?
I don't know who that is.
I'm pretty sure you are. Like that animated Microsoft...
My name's Gary, so it's on my birth certificate.
Okay, well, I've brought Good Faith Gary in to help us out by stepping in if I ever start acting in what debate streamers might deem bad faith.
I'm gonna be looking out for any uncharitable, straw man, poisoning of the well style situations.
Hopefully this will help keep the dialogue open, because honestly I don't trust myself enough to not be a dick to viewers of debate streamers, even though I used to be one of them.
Yeah, you've been on leftist Twitter for a little too long, huh?
Right.
I'm Good Faith Gary, and I love to engage.
Okay, man.
Listen, leftist Twitter, whatever Twitter, if you're on Twitter for too long, it doesn't do good things to you, no matter what.
Setting up shop in the marketplace of ideas.
That's why I've switched to Reddit.
You can go now, but just ping me if you need to interject, okay?
Alrighty. Good faith to you and yours.
Anyways, if you're a streamer that's watching this live right now, I forbid you from pausing this video to pick at me like a scab and go me. You're gonna keep-
No! That's funny. Wait, here, I got you. It's perfect.
This video playing and you're gonna like it. I'm just joking, but if you do need a pause, now would be a great time while I have my Patreon link on the screen. Go refill your nuggies and warm milky and pay me some money, okay? I'm doing God's work. Organized religion moment. I'm like the white Joel Osteen. Why is that in the script? Come on. Alright, thanks. Time to go. Fuck you. I had been spending the last month or so working on a couple different scripts for videos when the following clip was brought to my attention last week. It's from a video by the leftist streamer and YouTuber Xanderhal titled Why LeftTube is Dying and the Next Anti-SJW Wave is Rising. Oh no, this situation sounds dire. We better take a look, see what's going on.
You'll notice, and we talked about this earlier, there are some people online in the political scene right now that are left-wing, that are growing and are doing well. Many of the creators that are really blowing up right now are newer essay, commentary, bisexual lighting YouTubers. Good example.
It sounds like a little bit of YouTuber racism. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. He's just talking about it like it's like it's race. These goddamn bisexual video essayists, YouTuber, goddamn commentary, YouTuber. Fuck is that all about? And they're rising. If you wondered, I can't actually control the video from my headphones, so that's why I was able to turn it back on, if you were wondering.
Example, this is Noah Samsen. We just did a segment earlier covering
oh hey, that's me.
Noah Samsen and how he's actually a dumb fuck.
Oh god damn it.
That dude is literally gaining 4,000 subs a day right now, and this worries me. I am worried about channels
Wait, is he? Well, I'm not sure. This was like 2 weeks ago, right? Social Blade. He also does have a pretty big, like, sure, he's growing a lot, but also at the same time, he got a pretty big kick from being Noel Miller's editor. You know what I mean? He's kind of, it's a little unfair to, you know, like compare a lot of people. He's had some decent spikes. From September, it's from August, gained 39,000, 32,000, 4,000. This is back in December. Well, we're in February now. It's 2 weeks ago. He's like, I don't know. Back in January, he gained like 9,000 in a single month, which isn't like terrible. I think we've gained more than that in a single month, if I remember correctly. Well, let's see. I think we have. This is us. Yeah. Like our biggest month has been 18,000. So, I mean, you know, we usually hover around like 3,500 a month, which is great. Once again, thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you guys. I'd give you a tummy rub if it wouldn't be parasocial.
Like Noah Samsen and people like Hassan blowing up on YouTube because they're stupid and they can't defend their positions.
Now here's where I paused the video and thought,
Wait, did he say that, or did he just say that? They're blowing up because of their stupid positions?
Because they're stupid and they can't defend their position, and people like Hassan blowing up on YouTube because they're stupid and they can't defend their positions.
Now here,
was Zan just mad here? Was he just mad? I feel like he was just mad. I don't know. I think Hassan isn't great at debate or everything. Hassan's great at being able to retain knowledge and then be able to just like spout it. He's good at just like giving off talking points, but he's not good in a debate format. I think he can, you know, he can defend himself okay. He didn't do that great in like the Charlie Kirk debate that he had at Politicon, but honestly, compared to like your average person, I think he did pretty okay. You know, there are mistakes that he made, but he, you know, if you put some like average person on there or like just like your average viewer, I think he did pretty good. I'll say, especially with Charlie, who's been like media trained for like a long time. He's a bit different. He isn't coming out great here, honestly. Well, also remember the context of which like you're primed in this video. You're primed not to agree with Vaush and Zan here. That's just like the nature of the video, right? Not saying that's a bad thing. Just like keep that in mind.
here's where I paused the video and thought, Tom Hardy gif from Mad Max Fury Road. That's bait, right? Has to be. Or maybe it's a performance, like somebody forced an AI to watch debate streams for a year straight and then had it write a manifesto, and then microwaved Eminem for 20 seconds and had him read it at gunpoint.
Can't defend their positions.
So I kept watching the video because, you know, I support small gamers, and that's when I saw this. Xanderhal responds to a message in the chat that mentions several popular black leftist creators by name, some of whom are relatively new to YouTube.
Try giving more examples, lol. Progressive/leftist channels by black creators have been getting really big this past year, for example. I'm so glad you brought this up! I'm so glad you brought this up, because some of the examples you list here, I know these people, and they're exactly the problem I'm talking about.
These people...
What? Oh, wait. He said some people, right? I know he doesn't like FD. I don't know who... I know who... I don't know. I'm not going to try and butcher her name. But this person, KM, here. All right. KM, all I've seen from KM, she does good work. I don't know the rest of these people. I know FD and this person. I know these two. Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind here, all right? One thing to keep in mind here is Zan's history. Now, Xan did come from being sucked down when he was in a bad place by these by a lot of like right-wing cringe lords and a lot of the people that you would know of, like No Bullshit, Sargon, and all of that stuff, like Bearing and, you know, Roaming Millennial and all that stuff back in the day, right? So he understands where that comes from, and I can understand him being more sensitive to these types of topics, right? I can just understand him being more sensitive. I get it. It makes sense to me why he would be more sensitive about this type of stuff, because he could be like overly worried or scared about the same thing that happened in 2015 to like 17 happening again with this type of stuff if we don't like remember what happened then, and you know how to combat that type of stuff, right? And that type of rhetoric. So I can understand where he comes from here. I feel like he can go like a little bit overboard, but once again, I can understand it.
Some of the examples you list here, I know these people, and they're exactly the problem I'm talking about.
These people, sorry.
I have no problem with black creators getting really big. However, let me check something really quick. FD signifier is a dumb fuck. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay, so he's definitely doing a little bit of trolling. Why else would someone say something like that about FD signifier of all people? The final boss of the wise uncles of YouTube.com. If he isn't baiting us for hate clicks here, and has just deemed himself the racial arbiter of who's allowed to make left-wing YouTube content.
Wait, I think this is... Wait, okay, wait. Noah, he did say some of these, not all of them. He did say some, not all of them. And it seems like he takes, and when he means some, he means one, basically, which is he doesn't like FD, which I mean, you don't have to like everyone. I don't necessarily know why he doesn't like FD. I kind of also don't really care. But, you know.
This meme is very real.
He's calling Xan racist? Well, I mean, he's saying that he has some racial problems. That's what the whole video is about.
I have no problem with black creators getting really big. However, let me check something really quick. FD signifier is a dumb fuck. I'm sorry,
He
guys.
said these people, wait, we listen.
Read it at gunpoint.
Can't defend their positions.
So I kept watching the video because, you know, I support small gamers, and that's when I saw this. Xanderhal responds to a message in the chat that mentions several popular black leftist creators by name, some of whom are relatively new to YouTube.
Try giving more examples, lol. Progressive/leftist channels by black creators have been getting really big this past year, for example. I'm so glad you brought this up! I'm so glad you brought this up, because some of the examples you list here, I know these people, and they're exactly the problem I'm talking about.
Now, once again, he did say some of the people. And it seems like when he said some, he means one. Because he takes specific issue with FD. I'm not sure in the video if he like named anybody else, but it seemed like he literally just meant FD when he said that. I'm not sure if he had any issues with any of the other creators and or why.
These people, sorry,
I have no problem with black creators getting really big. However, let me check something really quick. FD signifier is a dumb fuck. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay, so he's definitely doing a little bit of trolling. Why else would someone say something like that about FT Signifier of all people? The final boss of the wise uncles of YouTube.com. If he isn't baiting us for hate clicks here, and has just deemed himself the racial arbiter of who's allowed to make left-wing YouTube content.
I don't like the idea of framing this as like a racial thing. It seems like, wait, okay. What? All right. We can disagree with like Xan's take on FD. Once again, I don't know. I mean, yeah, we can say like calling him dumb fuck or whatever is unwarranted. I think it's a little unwarranted, right? He said things that I disagree with. Obviously, I've had a discussion with him. I think Xan's going a little far here. I think he's probably being a little spicy, simply for like the clicks or whatever, or for like the content. That being said, I don't like the idea of saying that this is like a racial thing. It seemed like once again he has an issue with literally one of those creators. Now, once again, I didn't watch the original clip. There could have been more they had a problem with. Once again, it's an hour-long video. I don't want to spend like all night on 2 videos, okay? And there's going to be more videos in this, so I don't want to spend all night on like 5 or 6 videos, and all of those videos are like at least like an hour long. So, with that being said, it seems like here, in the way it's presented, he has an issue with one, which is FD. Posada, stop. I've seen one vid from FD, and I personally enjoy it. I know very little about him to form an opinion. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't delve into this stuff like too often. He does on Twitter every now and again, but I think he's like said that he doesn't want to do that anymore. FD's fine. He has like some opinions on like on the space that I disagree with. Once again, if you would like to know what those disagreements are, I spoke to him. It's called Fixing Bread or whatever. I know the thumbnail was Fixing Bread, but I spoke to FD when he came on stream. If you want to know what my disagreements were on that. That video covers basically everything that you would need to know. With that being said, I don't know. I think it seems like he just has a problem with FD. And when he says like these people, it seems like just the plain reading of this seems like when he says these people, it's not these people as in black people. It's these people as in people that I disagree with. And there just happens to be some black people in there. And it seems like the some black people is just one black person, which is FD. He has a problem with popular black creators that he deems inferior to him. Can you tell me what you mean?
And that's not much better, is it? Nope. Oh, I'm fine with black people coming onto LeftTube, but I have some conditions. Seems pretty weird. Earlier in this stream, he goes over how...
I mean, unless he's gonna play that there, it really seems like that's not what he said. It really seems like that's not what he said. I don't think that's what he said. Now, once again, if anybody's watched that video, like 100%, they can tell me like if I'm wrong or not. Please go ahead. It seemed like that's not what he said though.
His channel is
very real.
dying. It's a pretty unfortunate segment, but I assumed at this point him lashing out here had something to do with that. But eventually he gets to a claim of sorts. He's going to be on the screen for a little while, so just a heads up, if a radiation sickness warning shows up on your HUD, you should probably pause the video and go take a shower.
FD signifier is a dumb fuck. I was iffy on him for a while. He's been shit-talking the debate bro thing for a while now. He's also gone on Twitter and said some dumb fuck shit about like BreadTube debate bros and stuff like that. Here's the thing. People like FD signifier, Noah...
My thing is, are there really enough people like out there, like 300,000 people to watch a video on like just BreadTube. That part does make that's a little wild to me personally. I did not think that this community was that big, that you could just make a straight up video on BreadTube and it get like 300,000 views. That's a lot, but okay. And then I think the space is bigger than I expected. Calling out FD just to mention that he's black and more popular. It seems like someone, wait. It seemed like the comment in which FD came up in, the context was already about black people. So I don't think he brought up the fact that he was black. Once again, I could be wrong and let me know if I am. Just said that he's just dumb. And he's like one of these people, which are the new like YouTubers that he has an issue with. Really hope if Noah's talking about toxicity in different left influencer spheres that he also decides to make a similar video about video essayists who spread misinformation and lies about oh yeah. Make a video about Thought Slime and people like who is it? Bad Empanada. Dude, I saw Bad Empanada in this video. I don't know where Bad Empanada comes up, but I hope it's not in a really good light, because Bad Empanada is a very bad person. And he's like antithetical to a lot of left-wing values.
This meme is very real.
It's not just that he like, I don't like him. He's actually just kind of a bad person.
Samsen. These all have one thing in common. They hate and nonstop shit talk debate bros. They'll just shit talk the concept of being a debate bro and claim that debate bros are all toxic assholes who make the left worse. You're starting to see that rhetoric get really popular among the left right now.
You guys notice how everyone I meet and interact with in my
They'll just shit talk the concept of being a debate bro and claim that debate bros are all toxic assholes who make the left worse. You're starting to see that rhetoric get really popular among the left right now.
You guys know.
I don't know if it's I don't know. What do you guys think? Has it gotten more popular? Personally, I think that coming into the space, I don't know. Since I've been in this space for a little while, I don't know if it's gotten worse. It seems like it's just kind of the same as it's kind of always been. I don't know, there are some new people saying it, but also there are some new people around who don't agree with it. I don't know. I don't know if I'd say popular. There are definitely people around. There are people on Twitter who say it, but once again, like I don't know if like what they have to say is like too super important. I don't know. Zan's a little Twitter brain. You could be a little Twitter brain. That's okay. You can have a little bit of Twitter as a treat.
Notice how everyone I meet and interact with in my life ends up calling me an asshole? It's so weird. That rhetoric is getting really popular right now. Whoever's doing that, we gotta stop.
Noah.
Okay, sorry. Here, let's let him finish making his point.
Do you think that the left online would do better with people like Hassan and Noah Samsen and FD Signifier being the largest figures on it? The types of people who say debate is bad, who literally say debating is bad, people who literally as a concept are against debate and defending your ideas, and they publicly say so. Do you think that this is what we want representing the left?
Okay, so
now I don't want to go down this path. All right, I will tell you now, I don't want to go down this path for here's a very specific reason. All right, I think people like Noah, and I think people like FD, and I think people like Hassan are as important as people like me and people like Xan and people like Vaush. Okay, I do think that we're equally as important. Diversity of tactics, to each their ability, wait, how's it go? Fuck, I'm sorry. I had like most of my whiskey sour. Please someone finish it for me. Please, I'm begging you. From each according to their ability, to each according to their need. There you go. That's what I want. That's what I wanted to say. Listen, diversity of tactics is vitally important. I think it's really important for all of us to be involved here, and all of us to not, maybe if we don't even work together, just not to like shit on each other like too much, like all the time. I think that's important, okay? Because I think it's better for the viewers, and I think it's because like at the end of the day, we do this for our viewers, that we do this for the people who could possibly see what we do, and I think it's important. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it as it's like a like we're divorced parents or something, but you know what, maybe we need to look at it like we're divorced parents. Okay, we have co-custody. All right, we have co-custody of all of the viewers. All right, we are the divorced parents, the debate bros, and the video essayists. We don't always get along. All right, and that's okay, because we need to make sure that we just keep the fighting away from the kids. Well, if you know, when we have a problem, you know, we're divorced, but we need to make sure that the needs of the kids come first. And with that being said, I don't want to go down this path of like, oh, don't you think that it'd be so shitty if they had all of the control? Well, listen, all right, I don't think it would be. I actually think would be missing a little bit. I think we'd be missing a bunch if it was only like debate bros and no people doing like sort of like video SAE type content, or content like Noah or FD do, or like ContraPoints or whatever. Obviously, I think like the content that they do is actually really important and it reaches a different audience. Same with us. We need both of us here. There are lots of people who go back and forth, but there are also a lot of people who don't, and I think that's fine. All right, we need to take the co-parenting approach.
Xanderhal says that Hassan, Feek, and I are, as a concept, against debate and defending our ideas, and goes on to conclude that this will inevitably end in a weakening of the online left because...
I'm starting to see the online left turn into what it was back during the Gamergate era.
One
of the biggest common talking points from the right during this era was the left was too afraid to debate and defend their positions. That's why Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro blew up so much. It's because they debated, and they didn't debate well, and they weren't telling the truth. They just debated. Just the fact they were willing to debate gave them more credibility than the left, because nobody on the left wanted to debate.
Yes, famously credible intellectuals Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro.
Well, wait.
Afraid to debate and defend their positions. That's why Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro blew up so much. It's because they debated, and they didn't debate well, and they weren't telling the truth. They just debated. Just the fact they were willing to debate gave them more credibility than the left, because nobody on the left wanted to debate.
Yes, famously credible intellectuals Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro.
Well, you're putting your finger in the little hole. Rubber.
So where is Zanman?
Now, okay, wait. You don't have to be credible to actually gain credibility. Amongst like your average person and your average viewer, yes, that is true. That is true, 100%. To like make an open invite and then to be, I'm sorry, like no matter what you really think, when like Steve, and it's stupid and it's dumb, but I'm sorry, when Steven Crowder like sets up his change my mind and he sits down at his like shitty little table with like the sign on it and he sits there with his microphone with an empty seat, it gives him a lot of credibility. It does. It just does. And it does more to someone just sitting in their bedroom. It does. It just does. Now, whether or not they're actually credible is a different thing, but it giving them credibility, yeah, 100%. I will say that. Yes, 100%. It does give them credibility, 100%. They're not credible. They're stupid, and they get rolled when someone actually knows what they're doing and they don't debate some like rando off the street where they control all of the aspects of the debate. But once again, it's that faux credibility. It's optics. You're right. It's good optics. There's no debate with that. It is good optics.
Getting this impression about us. Well, I have a few ideas. I've gathered some clips together of criticisms made about Debate Bros by the people he's mentioned. These are things that I both agree with and think may be the source of this characterization. Sorry if this is a bit tedious, but I think it could be potentially helpful to have all of these critiques sort of compiled here. To give a little context as to the state of this riveting discourse, during a recent live stream, Hassan voiced some criticisms about the Debate Bros sphere and the audiences it tends to cultivate.
I agree, but I also see the downside of never having your viewpoints challenged with opposing views. Yawn. Okay, here's the thing. This notion that you are having your opinions challenged in the marketplace of ideas is a silly one. That would make Ben Shapiro the most intelligent person on the internet.
Hey, you're not a man if you think you're a man. And if I call you a moose, are you suddenly a moose?
This is why I absolutely fucking despise Debate Bros, because you don't care about the actual morality behind the ideology that you supposedly believe in. You don't care about the outcomes. You do not have like a well-grounded materialist perspective on issues. You are simply going towards who is the most powerful intellectual gladiator.
FD Signifiers Break Bread is a video that...
What? What? What is he saying? Wait, I'm sorry. I need to listen to this one more time. I genuinely don't know what he's saying.
During a recent live stream, Hassan voiced some criticisms about the Debate Bros sphere and the audiences it tends to cultivate.
I agree, but I also see the downside of never having your viewpoints challenged with opposing views. Yawn. Okay, here's the thing. This notion that you are having your opinions challenged in the marketplace of ideas is a silly one. That would make Ben Shapiro the most intelligent person on the internet.
Hey, you're not a man if you think you're a man. And if I call you a moose, are you suddenly a moose?
This is why I absolutely fucking despise Debate Bros, because you don't care about the actual morality behind the ideology that you supposedly believe in. You don't care about the outcomes. You do not have like a well-grounded materialist perspective on issues. You are simply going towards who is the most powerful intellectual gladiator.
No.
This meme is very real.
No. That's just, you're just wrong. That's not true. Listen, okay? Listen. I think Hassan makes entertaining content, but I agree he's not very good at debate. He agrees he's not very good at debate. Listen, I'm not sure if this position from Hassan is cope, because he's not like that great at debate, so he has to like figure out a way to kind of justify that. That's not that important at the end of the day. You know, I'm not sure if it's like that, and like you get like broken up with, and you get like turned down, and you're like, well, you're ugly anyways. You know, I'm not sure if it's like one of those types of things. Okay, but at the end of the day, all right, we're not saying that it makes you necessarily smarter. Ben Shapiro doesn't really care about becoming smarter. He doesn't. Ben Shapiro cares about how much money he makes, and the credibility and the optics that he gets from like doing these sorts of debates is fine. At the end of the day, a lot of these people who believe Ben Shapiro, they won't be swayed by debate any, and they know that, and they don't care. They don't care. They like the theatrics. They love the aesthetic of it. They care about the aesthetics and the looks. But there are a lot of people who will be swayed by like some form of debate, and that is a good thing nonetheless. Now, it gets a little bit more complicated in there, especially when it comes to platforming and everything. But just on the face, it is good. Nobody said that it just instantly makes you some gigabrain, big smarty boy. No one said that. And no one said that like simply because you debate means that you're going to be instantly smarter. That's not true. But I will tell you something, is that I thought that I had like some pretty good points or some good like retorts until I was in a debate and I didn't, and there was like a retort and there was like a counterpoint that I had not thought of that is actually like pretty valid, and I didn't know how to combat it, and I didn't know that until like I've watched someone else like try to like combat like an idea that I had, or I was in a debate. All right, that's true, and that happens sometimes. Okay, and sometimes you don't really know if your ideas are as good as you really think they are, because you can't live your life as like you can't live your life in your politics as like assuming a perfectly spherical cow in a vacuum chamber with no friction. All right, if all of your politics is just like that, and you don't get someone like, you know, like angrily and upsettedly like getting at you and like trying to poke holes in your argument, until that happens sometimes, or whether you see it happen or someone tries it, it's a little hard sometimes to figure out if you are as right as you think you are. I've been I'm not gonna say I'm necessarily like proven wrong, but the position that I had was not as strong as I thought it was at the forefront, and so it is important. This is important. It is. I think so.
FT Signifiers Break Bread is a video that covers the history and current state of BreadTube or LeftTube and the barriers posed to non-white creators on this platform. There's a section in this video that had some things to say about Debate Bros. Let's take a look at a clip.
And this problem with Debate Bros and their fandom, who understand make up a very significant chunk of LeftTube viewing, including my own, is the problem of most white LeftTube, both creators and consumers, which is, for all of the theory and research and outward rejection of white supremacy on paper, the vast majority have not taken the time to dismantle the white racial frame through which they see the world. So even with the best intentions, the behavior and viewpoints born out of this space is still going to be rooted in racist frameworks unless the concept of white—
He's not smoking weed, he lit an incense in this video. This is like right after there's a little scene where he comes out of like a big section of the video, and he lit a little incense and he set the incense down next to him. And then he moved it to the other side because the incense was blowing in his face too much, and he's like, stop.
Whiteness is addressed. Essentially, if you read Marx and Trotsky and Gramsci and What You Want to Do Ski and whomever else, but not Du Bois, Fanon, Hooks, Crenshaw, etc., you might be a leftist white supremacist. And thus, this colors the nature of leftist content and inadvertently makes things dangerous for the marginalized voices that get caught in the wake of this highly toxic, highly negative energy.
If that last part sounded oddly specific, don't worry, we'll get to that. Foreshadowing is a narrative technique when you talk about something.
Okay, I do think if you don't, I mean, you do need diversity in like the analysis that you have. That's why things like critical race theory are very important. The analysis that you have, like critical race theory, I don't think can live alone with like addressing problems the same way that like and any other like theory of like or like lens that you can think of is going to solve anything alone. It won't. All right, like the works of all of those people are very important to get it like an actual holistic view of the issues that we face as a society. Okay, so nothing alone will do that one thing, right? People keep telling me to read Marx and shit. But you're telling me, wait, my bad. You're telling me I've been a supremacist this whole time? Yeah, sorry, you're racist. Go watch Steven Crowder, racist. But no, like what he's saying is that if you read just like one frame or one lens from one type of people, you are going to be left out. That's why like voices and diversity is important, specifically because you can get that sort of like mindset. You can get that sort of like mindset or analysis that you weren't able to even have. You didn't have the opportunity to have because you didn't walk in those shoes. They're like just things that you just could not see. Right. And so it's important to see that type of stuff. And if you don't, you can lead yourself to down some like bad paths.
And you talk about it again later. My most vocal criticism of Debate Bros came in the follow-up video to my LeftTube guide with a section on Debate Bros. Not gonna lie, I wrote that script in about an hour, so not my cleanest work. I also played some out-of-context clips of Vaush. It was meant to be a joke, but it ended up just being me playing out-of-context clips of Vaush. So to the gamer gods,
that was supposed to be a joke? I actually didn't know. I did not know that was supposed to be a meme. I really didn't. Vaush, are you very interested in getting into debates or not? I had a debate like 3 days ago, 2-hour-long debate like 3 days ago about women and misogyny with like with like one of the most like wacky boys you've ever seen on the entire internet. Like, I mean, yeah, I do debates.
Formally.
Actually, the thing is, I do debates. I just don't upload all of my debates. I think between the last debate that I uploaded and this next one that we're going to be uploading, I think I did 4 debates in between there. I just didn't upload them.
And humbly apologize. To repent for my clip chimping sins, I will be live streaming Dark Souls this week, so make sure to press subscribe and hit that fucking bell, you piece of shit, you little shitworm. But the point of that section was to document some of the problems with Debate Bros that I had missed in my initial video, where I promoted a bunch of people, some of them rather uncritically. My main points were, don't rely on debate streamers as your sole source of information, and don't take anything your gamer of choice says at face value. And these are things that I stand by. They're also particularly relevant to today's video.
Take everything I say at face value. Don't listen to Noah. He's lying to you. He's trying to tear us apart, okay? Noah's the type of person to say that parasocial relationships are real. He only says that because he's jealous of what we have. Don't let him tear us apart.
Now, when Xanderhal takes what we've said here and elevates it to the claim that we are against debate as a concept, well, this is just not true. I'm going to play some clips that refute this point now. Again, incredibly tedious, I apologize, but potentially helpful for context and also to prove that we are coming in good faith when we criticize Debate Bros. Pandering to the good faith gaze, if you will. Here is Hassan from that same segment of his stream where he acknowledges the utility of debate.
I'm not saying that like there is no value to responding or learning and recognizing the talking points that right-wingers engage in. Of course there is. People, especially right-wingers in general, love to arm themselves with the same talking points that they're disseminating out of think tanks. Unless you're talking to like a total dumbass right-winger, you're gonna hear some fucking takes that you will hear from Ben Shapiro verbatim. So there is value to learning what those talking points are and understanding why they're fucking stupid.
Here is Feek opening the Debate Bro section in Break Bread with some concessions.
And to be fair, if I had it in me to watch the 3 and 4 hour streams of these guys talking and playing video games, I doubt I would have anything negative to say about
We'll be playing video games.
About 95% of what they do on stream. And I understand that when you're talking for that long, you're liable to say some things that maybe you wish you hadn't said. I don't individually think that these are bad people or even that they need to be ousted from the left. I think that that very concept of ousting people is part of the problem, really.
Look at all that good faith. So much good faith. You're not even gonna believe how much faith is good in there. Good faith all the time. One of the things I hear thrown around the debate zone a lot is the concept of the left having a diversity of tactics. So different styles of content for different audiences, all with the intent of spreading leftism as far and wide as possible. And on a macro lens, the better we are at making this content, the more views it gets, and the wider audiences are cultivated, the better off we will be, because this will mean less people gravitating towards right-wing content and more people learning about socialism. And that all sounds good to me. No notes.
I'm so proud of you.
Thanks. Okay, well, one note. Is what we do on here an actual political force, or is it entertainment? If so, how can that be quantified? If not, just how much are we overvaluing our utility to society beyond carving out a new consumer demographic of leftist content? If the style of leftism I want to promote is different than your style, and it's a style that you don't like, is this going to be an issue? Are you going to use your large platform to strike me down?
Noah, you're vague.
Well, okay. Listen, aren't those the same things? Isn't carving out another niche also doing the same thing as spreading like spreading the tactics? Don't those go like one and the same? Aren't those the same exact thing? Because those seem like the same exact thing to me. Because the thing is, you can do good things while not having good intentions. That's why like the concept of grifter sometimes isn't really important, because there can be someone who grifts all the time. Let's say like Vaush Video, okay, is a grifter and he actually never cared about leftism in the first place. All right. And he just likes to he just found a way to make a lot of money so he can buy more games and some more like small anime figures to put in his like display case behind him, and some more guns and some more toys for his Rufus cat. Okay. All right. What if that's all true? Honestly, what would be the difference between that Vaush and alternate dimension Vaush that actually cares? What's the quantifiable difference? I can't think of any. You wouldn't be able to see any from the outside, really. The motivation would be different, and we could be able to like guess how he would act like in the future if something came up. But at the moment, you can't really figure that out.
Posting.
Are all forms of content equal when it comes to learning?
No, stop it.
So many questions, no answers for now.
Okay, that was weird, man.
What, have you never heard of the Socratic method?
Oh, okay, yeah, never mind. I like it. I like that a whole lot.
Okay.
Ugh, that's so good.
All right.
Okay, all right then. Oh, all right. Thank you, Noah.
Briefly, I would like to take a deep dive into an interaction I had recently that I think might be helpful for illustrating some of the problems with online communication, specifically regarding the topic of debate. It's a little detour, but stay with me, okay? I'm gonna get better at writing one day. My ADHD pills are in the mail. So I tweeted this a few weeks ago, saying that basically I do not think white genocide is something that we should be debating. The long debunked white supremacist talking point about the white population being eradicated through immigration. Gary, I need you.
Well, What topic that white genocide is worthy of debate coverage in 2022? No, we do not agree. It really depends on what you talk about. It really depends on what you talk about. Now, okay? Now, be honest. I want chat to be honest, okay? Have you guys heard about like the white people and the white farmers in South Africa being gatted because they are white, and the black people in South Africa think that they're stinky and smell like wet dog because they're white? Yeah, you've heard about that before? Yes? Be honest with me. When the first time that you heard it, did you think that it was actually like a little convincing? Even if you didn't agree that like white people are like on the back foot and are going to be like destroyed or something, were you like, huh, that's weird, or that's interesting, or my bad, not even that interesting, that's weird, or I mean, I don't know. You didn't know how to combat it like the first time even if you didn't think it was like true, you didn't know how to combat it the first time you heard it. How about that? We'll take that route. I know some people don't want to admit that they thought it was convincing. You didn't know how to combat it the first time you heard it, because I know this is true, and I know a lot of people felt that way. Not only with like this topic, but with like a bunch of other topics as well. I'm sorry, you may not know how to combat that type of stuff, how to accurately combat it in a convincing way. The first time you hear stuff like that, initially heard it, maybe, yeah. Even if I'm not talking like you're like, oh yes, I am a white supremacist now. No, what I mean is that you didn't know how to combat that the first time you heard it, and you're like, oh no. Here we go. Here's another argument. Even if you knew that it like had to be wrong or something, you're like, I don't know how to swat this one down. Yeah, like that happens, and that's a portion of like a white genocide argument. And so if he's saying that we should not be arguing any like sections of a white genocide argument ever, I think that's cringe and also lame, and unhelpful and weird and cringe. Okay, but if he's just saying like, should debate time is white genocide time, should we be like straight up just debating that? I mean, I can understand you being like, no, we should focus on other things. I can understand that.
Not think white genocide is something that we should be debating. The long debunked white supremacist talking point about the white population being eradicated through immigration. Gary, I need you.
Hey, y'all.
Explain to them why this tweet is a problem for you and your people over there.
Gladly. In the debate sphere, there's a conception of the archetypal Twitter lefty that says things like, human rights aren't up for debate, or it's not my job to educate you. This, in our minds, inhibits the left's ability to argue for concrete policy positions, because if we can't have difficult conversations, we can't solve difficult problems. This might have been what Xanderhal was referencing when he was talking about you being unwilling to debate. This tweet plays into that stereotype and makes you look really dumb. That's me quoting them. I don't think you're dumb. No, I think you're a nice enough guy.
Thanks, Gary.
Maybe it'll be useful if you just clarify what you meant here.
Sure, Gary. Sounds good. As long as racist and fascist and other bad ideas exist, they should be challenged. Whether that's through debate, essays, one-on-one communication, iMessage, Tinder, Hinge, writing it on the ground in the woods, whatever.
Wait, how many of you guys have debated someone in a dating app? Be honest with me. I know some of you have. Be honest. How many of you all have debated someone in a dating app? Me? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
This meme is very real.
We need help out here. I touch grass, so no, thankfully not. No, I did once. It was freaky. Oh no. I thankfully I haven't yet, but I don't know. I hope I won't in the future. I hope not.
Someone pointed out the fact that Tucker Carlson goes on his show every night and uses white genocide rhetoric for hours on end in front of millions of people. That's a good point. It's not like it's not happening. As much as I'd love to be able to say white genocide doesn't exist and be done with it, because it doesn't, I recognize that for other people in different areas of the political spectrum, it's not that simple, especially in the general American population. We still got a lot of work to do getting them caught up. Here's the original image that led me to tweeting this. This image to me is what sociologists might call sussy-wussy. Two white dudes on a live stream titled Debating White Genocide. Racism. Is it really that bad?
Noah, I can understand why this looks problematic to you, but the thing is, those dudes were actually providing arguments against it.
Right.
And that's good, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it.
I suppose that's true. However, my disdain for the idea of still having to debate things like white genocide comes from somewhere. Mainly, it comes from the part of me that feels like the real-world significance of de-radicalization by YouTube content has a tendency to be overstated online. Or to put it another way, converting to leftism by consuming debate content can come with certain side effects.
Okay. Sure. I mean, I'm glad that he clarified, because like the original tweet, I did not understand. And it meant, I personally thought that it meant something different. Once again, I'm glad that he clarified, but you know, you feel me? You feel me? You understand? You understand me? You feel me? Here, 1 second. In a memento. Por favor. Okay then. Gaming time. I wanted to just play like a little bit of Breath of the Wild while we're watching this, so we can meme but also cream at the same exact time. I'm gonna get some snackies just so we can do two things at once. How does that sound? We like doing more than one thing at once, isn't that right, chat? Multitasking. Stop talking.
might have had a de-radicalization experience thanks to someone like Vaush or Destiny or even Xanderhal, God help you, and that's great. Seriously, I'm not here to knock on that. The less alt-right, the better. But my concern is that by staying in these spaces, it becomes easy to maintain.
Why is he being so mean to Xan? What's he being mean to Xan? I know him and Xan had like a, I don't know. I know him and Xan had like a kerfuffle. I didn't think that they were still mad at each other, because apparently so. Xan did call him a dumbass. That's true, but I thought they had that, I thought they got that figured out. I thought they got that all figured out. I guess not. Xan attacked him. Yeah, but I thought Xan attacked him. Yeah, but at the same time, they were attacking each other on Twitter. I thought that they were done.
Habits of consumption that can inhibit your ability to recognize the reactionary tendencies that you or the people around you might still hold.
Noah, echo chamber characteristics can be found in any online community, right? That's the basis of how they form, by bringing like-minded people together. There will always be issues like the ones that you mentioned.
That's true, but the debate bro ozone echo chambers seem to have a uniquely grating effect due to their highly charged environments, massive platforms, and self-appointed status as the gladiators of online anti-fascism.
One of the biggest problems.
What? Hundreds of thousands of people, millions maybe, have had their politics swayed through debate streams, which are just another type of content people may or may not have a preference for. This snobbery, Sean thinks less of you if streams brought you to the left. That is true. Wait, I'm not sure if you saw what Sean said, but what Sean has to say about like debate stuff and stuff like that, yes, that is true. Sean does think that you're a dumber, lesser, worse person and worse leftist if like you watching a Twitch debate pushed you towards being a lefty. That is just factually true. That is true.
Back in 2014 and 2016 is there were no lefties online who weren't, insane to say, no, we don't actually believe that all white people are evil and we don't want to do this and this that you claim you want to do. It wasn't until people like Destiny and Vaush and me and Chud Logic and Demon Mama and just like left-wing debate people came along that argued against those effectively that you really started to see that narrative start to get pushed down.
There are a few examples I could use here to...
Now, I mean, sure, we can say who. At the same time, like, I don't know. Even though they may not be like massive, huge or anything, I'm sorry, like you can think of like a decent amount of like really big right wingers off the top of your head, but for every like one like big right winger that you can name, they're like 10 or so or more, or 20 who don't command audiences of like 50 million or whatever, and command like much smaller audiences who are still doing a lot of bad things. They're part of the problem.
Illustrate my point, but why don't we start with Xanderhal? Sorry guy, there's a new lol cow in town, and it isn't a feminist gaming journalist this time. It's you, Xander, Alexander Hawley Ocasio-Cortez. Sorry, it's not funny at all, actually. The most viewed video on Xanderhal's channel is called How I Fell Down the Alt-Right Pipeline and Escaped. It's from December of 2019. We've seen this story before, but basically, he got into some Pepe shenanigans with his gamer friends and was eventually pulled out of it. The thing that pulled him out, in his case, was Destiny's debate with JonTron, where Destiny ended Nazism once and for all, or something like that. I didn't watch it. He concludes this 48-minute video with what he sees
as... That is true. Destiny did end Nazism once and for all. That happened in that debate. It's pretty sick. You guys should be thanking Destiny. How many of you guys in chat have not watched a Destiny stream recently? You need to go to your, I think he's streaming right now. Go into like a second tab and like go to his chat and say, thank you, Destiny. Thank you for destroying Nazism, Destiny. We appreciate, even though I may not agree with you, you personally defeated Nazism, Destiny. Thank you, Destiny. You may not even need to say Destiny. Just say thank you, Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bennell II. Thank you, Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bennell II. Also, I hope Melina is doing well as your child. All right. Yeah, that's tiny. Make sure you do that. He did destroy Nazism in that debate. You're welcome.
The most important aspect of online politics as he moves forward on his journey into leftism.
There's one thing above all of this that may be the most important thing, and that's optics. I know I'm not just speaking for myself when I say that the stereotype of an SJW is off-putting to most people. Don't let yourself fit into the mold of the straw man that reactionaries have made of us. If we defy their expectations and their stereotypes, they won't know how to counter us. Us leftists, we have facts, statistics, data, and even historical context on our side. If people like us can drown out the loud minority that the right uses to make their hit pieces, they won't have any more material.
First of all, what did this person do to you? They look fine. They look good. I want a portable ball sack. Where do you even get that?
What the fuck? This was a while ago. How long ago was this video made? Like 4 years now or something? How long ago was this? Portable ball sack? Ball sack is gone. It is now aren't all ball sacks portable?
Is very real.
Like at the end of the day? Like, I think my nuts are portable. They go with me wherever I go. Am I portable? Oh no, wait, how much do you weigh? How much do you weigh? And I'll answer the question. Stationary ball sack. 170-ish? You're on the you're coming on the cusp of being not portable. I will tell you that. Like, I do know there are lots of people in chat who would not be able to carry you. I'm sorry. This was a while ago. I can understand like the position that he had like back then. I'm not sure if he believes literally everything that he said in the video then. Yeah, like how long ago was that video? Does anybody remember? You're like that big video how I got into the alt-right rabbit hole and how I got out? Vaush is about to talk to Noah. Interesting.
I love this though. He's like, yeah, you can be a leftist as long as you're not one of those filthy fucking degenerate SJWs because they make us look very bad. I know this because right-wingers told me so, but let's cut him some slack. That was 2 years ago. He's probably grown up and become a big boy now. Let's see what he's up to.
One of the biggest common talking points from the right during this era was the left was too afraid to debate and defend their positions. Nobody on the left wanted to debate. The left at the time were high and mighty, BuzzFeed videos, feminist like video essay content, woke scoldy, high and mighty, preachy, non-funny, non-edgy, milquetoast, fucking not whitewash, fucking sugar sweet, fucking condescending left-wing content made by, well, trans people with pink hair, okay, and blue hair, which obviously isn't a problem in and of itself, but it does kind of make the left, you know, it makes gives right-wingers, makes them mad.
Oh.
Noah really hates Xan. Noah is not a fan of Xan. Now, I will say that take is definitely different. Now instead of saying that it was like, it's like their fault or anything, and there's something like wrong with them, it does like make them mad. And here's the thing, and this is like really interesting. It is true that it does like just make them mad. And this part is like really interesting, is the part that, like whether you like it or not, this is kind of a thing that actually happens. Now, think about this. We talk about this every now and again. When it comes to, when it comes to, like fighting for minority rights, here's the thing that we talk about every now and again, which is if a minority is standing up for themselves and like saying that they deserve rights, they're treated as less seriously than like either someone from like the dominant group or from someone from another group also fighting for or like another person fighting for their rights, like standing up, right? I'm not sure if you guys have like seen that before, but that is true. That is a thing that actually happens. And while the solution to that may not be stop trans people with blue hair and pronouns from being able to talk about these issues, but it is important to recognize that that is an actual thing.
I feel like I've heard this somewhere before. This hyperfixation on optics is indicative of a framework of political thought that views the world through a lens of what the right will think of us and a little more, and that's what I take issue with. Basing your politics on practicality is a good thing, but when the crux of your argument rests upon dictating the terms of how other people should look and act and silencing minorities...
No, he said drowning out the loud minority.
Drown out the loud minority?
Sure, okay, my bad. Just save that one in the memory bank for later. Silencing minorities.
Drowning out the loud minority.
Okay, dude. When optics is the crux of the argument, this, to me, is in some ways indistinguishable from just being an anti-SJW person yourself, because it means that your online content Overton window always has to include the Gamergator perspective. And how much leftism can you really be getting done if that's the case? All of this makes a lot more sense when we look at where Xanderhal is.
Can I see the context? Debate Bro viewers be like, context! I need context! 1 clip, 2 clip! You hate my streamer, I need context! Cringe. Imagine.
Getting this whole narrative from. In his video, he starts off by citing another YouTuber whose video's thesis forms the basis of his own, and the channel he cites just so happens to be an actual reactionary YouTuber whose primary content focus is dunking on e-girls and defending Leafy.
Oh my god.
So what's going on there? This all reminds me of last year when he wouldn't stop saying ableist slurs despite his community's objections to him doing so. His reasoning was that gamer language such as this is more effective at bringing people over from the right. It only took about 12 debates and 7 response videos for him to eventually stop.
Hyperbole, strike 7.
He did stop, and that's good, but not without it requiring severe pushback from multiple different creators. Xanderhal does go on to say that optics aren't everything, and that it's okay to be trans or something.
Trans people with pink hair. But I'm more so talking about the attitude, not like the optics of who's advocating for what, right? That doesn't matter. I don't believe in the idea that like...
Well, I mean, he said it literally doesn't matter. I don't know.
We should relegate certain identities to the sidelines because their identities are like bad optics. I don't believe in that, okay? Optics are important, but they're not everything, right?
But that was only after the Gamergate tirade spilling out of him.
Condescending, scoldy, trans people high and mighty.
So it's stuff like this that makes me wonder about the boundaries of what these communities are able to accomplish, and whether or not the high regard debate lords seem to hold themselves in is warranted, but you can decide that for yourself. See the current state of the valiant white debate lord saviors of the American online left.
Stop it.
He'll probably complain about being clipped out of context, but I mean, the full video's there. It's it's a full video. You can watch the whole thing. Also, if you do go there, don't say anything mean, please. Just comment Squid Gang with 6 G's. But that's all I really needed to say about that guy. So yeah, on to the important stuff now. Title card right now. Thanks.
All right, we're now into the Vaush
dealt with that sort
segment.
of silly stuff. I want to move on to a more serious example of where I feel that these spaces are causing harm within the online left. I think it actually makes the most sense to start this story by briefly going back to Xanderhal reacting to something that I tweeted. I know I'm making you watch me watch someone react to my tweets. It's disgraceful, but I promise I'm going somewhere with this.
And then this is the one.
Finally,
this is the one.
Noah's learning
instantly,
something.
If anyone says Vaush is wrong in the Professor Flowers debate, there's just no saving them, okay? There's no saving them. They're a piece of shit, okay? Because they're defending genocide. There's just that is the dichotomy in that debate. You're either anti-genocide or pro-woke genocide. You're either pro-genocide or anti-genocide. And certain people on the left are pro-genocide because it looks woke in a certain way.
Okay.
All right, listen. All right. I was not expecting these Professor Flowers memes to take this long. To like take up this much time. All right? Listen to this. All right? I mean, oh, what is that? I got my first diamond? Yeehaw, partner. I don't know. I think Professor Flowers is a big problem. Professor Flowers seems a little cringe. Now, Professor Flowers blocked me on Twitter like not too long ago. I don't know. I don't even think I said anything like too crazy about Professor Flowers. I disagreed with her. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because like my original and my only video I dropped about Professor Flowers ratioed her. I'm not sure if that's if that was the impetus of me being blocked. Was my giga ratio. But listen, all right. I just think I didn't think I said anything too crazy. I don't think I was like too mean. I really don't. But I am now blocked, so it doesn't really matter now. I think Professor Flowers had a lot of problems in that in that discussion, and I don't know. I do not support. I disavow a lot of problems. I think we can get into it.
So if you have no idea what any of that meant, let me get you up to speed. The tweet he is referencing is...
And I quote tweeted. I didn't quote tweet. I never like tweeted anything at Professor Flowers. I never tweeted anything at Professor Flowers once in my entire life. Never once. She just like went to my account to go block me. I don't even think I spoke about Professor Flowers on Twitter. She is not pro-genocide. I do believe that is I don't think I ever said that she was pro-genocide.
Is talking about a conflict from a couple of months ago that happened between the large left-leaning streamer Vaush and the small leftist video essayist Professor Flowers. My tweet is saying that Vaush was in the wrong in that conflict. This interaction began when Professor Flowers made a video critiquing Vaush for conflating black nationalism.
Listen, if they're stop messaging me. Listen, I love you guys. Stop messaging me that they're talking. We haven't even been able to watch the Vaush section of this video to understand what they're going to talk about yet. I don't even know what they're going to be talking about yet. I can figure out, and we can watch that sometime later, but I would like to watch this first.
With white nationalism in a prior debate. Vaush reacted to this video on his stream. He disagreed with her characterizations of him. Professor Flowers made a video responding to his disagreements. He reacted to that video on his stream and disagreed. He then invited her on the stream to discuss, which ended up turning into a debate. After this, she released one final video on it, and so did he. That's not where this ends, but for now, that summary should suffice. The debate was, well, a shit show, as both parties have since acknowledged, and as we'll get into in a moment. But the effects that it had on the online left content space were much more serious and malicious. One of these effects, as Xanderhal has so succinctly put it in his video, is that it's treated as orthodox thought in debate spaces that anyone who agrees with or defends Professor Flowers in any capacity is pro-genocide or sympathetic to violent ethnostates.
That is the dichotomy in that debate. You're either anti-genocide or pro-woke genocide.
Now, this idea comes from somewhere. It comes straight from the source, actually, from the overlord of the debate realm himself, Vaush. Since this...
I don't like this idea that like, and this is like a continuation from that. I don't like this idea that all of these ideas come straight from Vaush, and like, I don't know. He may not be talking about me specifically, but like a lot of these people in the space, it's just Destiny and Vaush are the ones with the ideas, and then everyone else, like the ideas get filtered through, and then we just like parrot what their positions are, and we have no like brain or agency or positions ourselves. And every time that we have similar positions, it's because we all say the same exact. It's because we all have like the same exact. Because we just wait for like Vaush or Destiny to have like a position, and then we just take. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't know. I don't. It doesn't happen to me specifically all the time, but there's no real difference between in the sense of our like size and or like position to Vaush or Destiny. Me and Xan aren't like very different in from that perspective. But I don't know. I know it could be like frustrating for Xan because Xan's been around longer than Vaush, and I don't know. He put Vaush on a lot of like the ideas and like the ways for making content that Vaush has now. But I don't know. But apparently, Vaush is the only one with ideas.
This debate nearly 6 months ago, Vaush has continued to characterize Professor Flowers as being an anti-white racist whose ideology inevitably leads to genocide. Here he is talking about it last week on his stream.
It's like Professor Flowers. I think that Professor Flowers is basically just an anti-white racist who stumbled into a misunderstanding of decolonial terminology. There are always bad people who will mask their ideology through sort of euphemism and adjacent positions. How many super far-right fasci types cloak their positions in the front of like nationalism? Not like hyper-nationalist, fascist, whatever, you know, but just like regular American nationalism. That's like the most common thing in the book, you know? It's not even like anything PF said was that extreme either. It's ethnic cleansing. I don't get it.
There's enough lore and content regarding this interaction to last anyone who's interested until next winter, so I'm just going to give my honest opinion and summarize it in the following way. I do not think that anyone that has actually listened to Professor Flowers' videos on this topic can make any of the claims that Vaush and his fans continue to make about her, calling her an
PF did define colonizer as just white people when talking to him, so that's weird. That is true. I'm not sure if like I don't think he brings up him here, but in her discussion with him, if like all the like I don't know, all the like ideas that I had, like, oh, maybe she didn't really mean that, or maybe like in a different discussion with like a different type, because this happens to some people too, where you'll just take like a strong, like a harder position just because of like the person that you're talking to. I'm like, oh no, maybe in like another discussion she would like back off that point. She did not. And like talking to him, where it specifically wasn't even like a debate, she was like, yeah, when I say colonizer, I just mean like a white person. If you ever see like a white baby, that's a colonizer.
Anti-white racist that is pro-genocide or pro-ethnostates is a lie, as it was never the content of her arguments. It was a narrative crafted by the failings of the format of online debate streaming. More on that later.
We'll come back to this later.
But more importantly, thanks to the means by which this narrative was conceived, with Vaush arguing against decolonization and separatism using fear of retribution rhetoric.
What? Arguing against decolonization? What? I don't think he argued against... do you think that's a correct reading? That he argued against decolonization specifically? Nah, I don't think he argued against decolonization. You don't think he Noah? You don't think Noah understands decolonization? I don't think he argued against decolonization, with like fear of retribution rhetoric. I don't know. I feel like all of the bounds of the discussion that they had were between what she believes and what he believes, and that's like it. I mean, the thing is, like, I don't think, and I don't think this either, that like, here's the thing, and this is why I call Professor Flowers, and I still believe this, that I think Professor Flowers is a bad advocate for these types of ideas. And I think that anybody who brings up genocide, period, is like a bad advocate for these types of ideas. Because like anything nearing, Native American people should be able to have the capacity to genocide the non-native, like air quotes native. When I say Native American, I mean like Indian Americans. When I say Native American, that's what I mean. And now air quote native, like European and European people of European descent and people from like African descent. Like they should have the capacity to be able to murder those people and genocide them. Or like if they decide to engage in genocide, well, that's just like their choice, and they should be able to at least make that choice, even if we stop them. Like I think everybody bringing that into the discussion is like being a bad advocate, because if you said that to any like Native American person or like anybody who's like the victim of colonization, they'll like throw something at you. they'll throw the heaviest object that they could lift at you before you could even finish your sentence. No person from any of these like marginalized or like colonized groups will ever say anything like that, ever. They just don't. And anytime someone else brings it up, even in like their behalf, they're like doing them a disservice. I think this idea, especially in like Professor Flowers' follow-up video, that was like, you're lucky that we don't want to murder all of you guys. You're lucky. You should be so happy that I'm not really advocating that we should murder all of you guys right now. You should be happy. You should be on your hands and knees thanking me that I don't want to murder you right now. Like if that's like the tone of like the last video, I'm like, this isn't doing good things for like the decolonization movement. You know what I mean? I don't think so personally.
It's all well and good to talk about living free of your oppressors, but when you break apartheid in South Africa, there are millions of white people living in that country. Like, what do you do? Do you just like ship them all out? Do you build camps? I mean, there's not really any way to do that without genocide, you know?
It has created a hostile space for black creators wanting to discuss issues like black separatism and black nationalism, and this in turn serves to reinforce the racial status quo of LeftTube, which is something that, especially as leftists, we should not be wanting to reinforce. In his retrospective video on the conflict, Vaush still fails to meaningfully recognize the distinction between black separatism and white nationalism, which was the main criticism of Professor Flowers' original video.
Black separatism is essentially just the black version of white nationalism. It's just kind of couched in this, like, a different type of victim rhetoric. The end result tends to lead to ethnic supremacy and ethno-states, and I think that's bad no matter what.
Mind you, this is after like half a year of this being explained to him in varying degrees of simplicity, that this comparison between these two different things serves to ignore the historical context of these movements and compare.
I don't know, like, black separatism seemed to, like, only turn into bad outcomes when it was, like, tried and all this type of stuff. I don't know. Especially with, like, people like Marcus Garvey, who was racist against African American people who weren't African enough. And he was just like, well, those people can just get, like, hate crimed and get bred out until they die. But, like, the people who I deem as dark enough, they can get on, like, the sick Negro boat back to Negro Haven. But you guys can just die because you're cringe and too white. I don't know. It's just like when I've seen, like, yeah, he sold stock in a ship that he didn't own. Yeah, he went to jail for fraud for a little while, and then it was just kind of like over. He also worked with the KKK. That was like his thing. Like him and his group and the Nation of Islam, they like all worked with the KKK a lot because like the KKK realized that these guys were going to get black people out of the country and they didn't want them blacks in the country anymore. And so they realized that they both had a shared goal of black people not being in America. And so like the KKK and like other white supremacist groups helped fund Garvey and other black people in their failed ventures to like get people deemed black enough out of the country. They had like a meeting, and I think like one guy after the meeting, I think he was like the Grand Poobah or whatever they call themselves or whatever. He did an interview with like some newspapers, and he's like, I'll carry any black person on my back that wants to get out of the country. Like they're like, why are you working with these guys? He's like, I'll make sure that I carry any black person who wants to get out of the country on my back to that boat to get out of the country. And yeah, that was Garvey, and that's like black separatism. That's how that's turned out in the States, at least. That wasn't good. I personally don't like black separatism. It seems like kind of cringe, honestly. Also, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. All right. I'm sorry if I go to fucking Uganda, Congo, goddamn South Africa or some shit. Like they're not gonna be like, oh yes, black. They're like, what the fuck is an American doing here? What are you, freak? Like that's what's gonna happen if I try to go to like Africa. Okay, it's not gonna work out. I am an African American. I am a black person living in America. I am not African. I am not. They will not like if I go to Africa. I'm sorry. Okay, if I go to Africa and I'm wearing like the like Pan-African goddamn like outfit in some shit, and I have like the necklace and everything with like the African continent on it, and I like land and I'm like Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. Like they're just going, I think they may just shoot me on the spot, and honestly I wouldn't blame them. I would not blame them. Thanks for putting me out of my misery. Okay, because it was obviously a cry for help. You know what I mean?
Comparing it to Nazism is ignorant, to put it lightly. Gary, anything you want to say here, or can I just keep going?
Okay, well, I guess on the debate side, we did find Professor Flowers guilty of a few crimes.
Okay.
First off, racial essentialization.
What the fuck is that?
It's when you call white people colonizers. It's racist dog whistling.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
This should be disqualifying from the entire left. The idea that literally just admitting, by colonizer, I'm using it as a dog whistle for white.
Okay, give me the timestamp where she said it was okay to call white people colonizers.
What?
Guys, does anybody have that timestamp from Heem's discussion with her? Does anybody have that on hand? Or can you like nab it up real quick? He did ask for it. Give me a sec. I do. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I would love to listen to it if I can. She literally said that. That was her words verbatim. Timestamp in PF said, haven't thought about immigrants and mixed people in the scenario from 24 to 26, from 34 to 35, and from 50 to 57. From 46 to 47, PF saying how light-skinned black people can still be equated to colonizers. From 57 to 58, and from 50. Okay.
I'm an immigrant living in Canada, and I moved here when I was 7 years old. Because of my upbringing and having been an immigrant and lived in different places in the world, I have this view that like we're all just citizens of the earth, and that anybody should have the right to live anywhere. And you know, this is my general take. So I guess this is why I kind of invited you on to kind of hear your perspective on things. Like, for example, how would someone like me fall into this concept of colonizer versus colonized? Yeah, we can start there, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's like someone like you falling into the example of colonizer versus colonized. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to like answer that. I think more of what I'm getting at is that, especially in America, in the US, and also in Canada as well, the indigenous people there have never stopped fighting for their land back. I think there's this kind of way that we talk about, and I think also I want to mention, like I mentioned Africa, and I like use a lot of examples of decolonization there that aren't really as relevant because Africans aren't trying to, you know, gain their power back, or like gain their power back by removing the colonizers at this point. They're dealing with the economic legacies of colonialism more so. But when you look at, you know, the US and Canada, we kind of talk about it as if colonization happened, as if it's this thing that's like in the past. And to the indigenous people there, it never stopped happening. And it's, for me, understanding that was very pivotal because they've never stopped fighting for their land, and they've been slighted. And we need to ask them what they think that we should do about these colonial situations. Like in the US, there's land back, and it focuses not even in all the lands of America, but like there's certain places there's like a focus on, like Mount Rushmore, and giving that back, for example. It's a sacred site. And I think this stuff comes down to, if they're immigrants from Europe in the past 3 generations, they're still benefiting directly from the effects of colonialism. So,
what benefit are you referring to? Sorry, can I ask what benefit you're referring to specifically?
The benefits of white supremacy.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So what about like a black person from England moving here?
I don't necessarily think that they're like necessarily colonizers and that they're benefiting from colonialism. And when I say like colonizers, that's what I'm talking about, is people being able to reap the direct benefits of colonialism. But at the same time, if you asked indigenous people, like, what do they think about someone like a black person moving from the UK or things like that? Again, I don't think they would want to kick that person out or even kick the white people out necessarily. But I think it comes down to this being their land and asking, what should we do with this? And again, they're not really talking about kicking anyone out. But I think at the end of the day, like even me as a black person living here, I wonder, like, I still would like to ask indigenous people, like, what do you think about me being here? And not even just think about it.
Yeah, like listen, you were born in North America, right?
All right.
Okay, so then I was just my pushback on that was gonna be like, it's probably not good if people are rude based off of other people's race. Like, that would make them racist in my opinion.
I mean, I think there's lots of jokes to make about white people that are really funny, that are rude, but they're also pointing out the issues of racism. Like, I think a lot of times when black people laugh about white people be like, that's reverse racist, but the core of the joke is pointing out something racist about white people.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
It's like not the same thing.
Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna take it away from black and white because there's other races. Let's say that you and I are driving in a car together, and the guy beside us is driving really slow, and I turn to you and I'm like, must be Asian guy. Does that make me racist?
Yeah, that's racist.
Oh, okay. So then being rude.
Yeah, it's specifically about, because like I think like black people can have internalized racism. There's like lots of black people who like, you know, don't like themselves as a black person because internalized racism. I think that, like, you know, as a, you know, black person, I could be racist towards like Jewish people or, you know, Asian people or da-da-da. I think we should specify that, like, you know, you can't be like reverse racist, or generally there's probably some sort of exception, but like you can't, generally reverse racism specifically against white people is not a thing. When people like make jokes about white people, when the core of the joke comes down to making fun of something racist. Yeah, I think so like, for example, like if a black person's like making fun of an Asian person or something for some sort of Asian stereotype, like it's really important to understand that these stereotypes still come from white supremacy. And that's kind of like the thing that I'm getting at. The racism, that's still a part of systemic racism. Interpersonal racism is just not really a thing. And then someone being like rude towards white people is not necessarily racism. It's usually like making fun of something that's...
I still don't like how she thinks that like interpersonal racism isn't a thing. I think that's where like, that's like, I don't know, I would say like 99% of like the racism, like that like white people experience, 99% like today, that's where it comes from. And I think that's where the majority of racism for your average black person living their life comes from as well. Like the interpersonal is like a pretty big thing.
Like telling people to move somewhere else. And I don't even think that's the nature of the beast that we're dealing with right now. I don't think that's what indigenous people are talking about.
I guess I'm just confused. Like, I feel like even if I was a white person, okay, even if I was from England and I came here, I wouldn't call myself a colonizer. I would agree that I would be a white person who benefits from white supremacy, but I don't think that would make me a colonizer. I'm just as much, I'm an immigrant. Like, I don't know. I guess I don't know what the... And you said you hadn't thought about it that much, how the immigrant plays into this. I think that there's so much individual movement of people now that like it's really hard to say who exactly is a colonizer unless you just say like, oh, all white people are colonizers because they benefit from a system that colonization set up which caused white supremacy.
Well, for me, it's like the way that I use the term colonizer is about like the white people who are directly benefiting from a colonialist system, and that's how I throw that word around. And if you don't understand it as that, that's fine. It's not like a hill I'm willing to die on. You know? It's not like an academic term that I'm trying to use. I think it's just kind of like a shorthand way of me being, yeah, white people benefit from colonialism. White people are still very much a colonialist problem, and colonization never stopped happening.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think most people would disagree that you know, that white supremacy, that white people benefit from white supremacy.
And you can tell me if I'm listening to this right. So her definition is colonialism is when you benefit from, you're a colonizer when you benefit any from colonialism, specifically white supremacy, I guess. I don't know. It's really weird because she puts up a caveat. She puts up like a big caveat for if you benefit from white supremacy, but you're not white. My bad. If you benefit, I mean, yeah, you can benefit from white supremacy and not be white, but also if you benefit from colonialism, and if you're not white, that once again doesn't make you a colonizer. But if you benefit from colonialism and you are white, which is basically all white people, which is all white people, actually, not even like basically, that is all white people. They benefit in some way. That is just like all white people. So white people, if you are white, you are a colonizer. She says light-skinned black people can be equated to colonizer as well. Yeah, I remember that part of the video. So yeah, she did. That was something that she said. I was like, I'm pretty sure, I haven't watched the discussion in a while, but I'm pretty sure she did literally say that.
That literally just admitting, by colonizer, I'm using it as a dog whistle for white.
Okay, give me the timestamp where she said it was okay to call white people colonizers.
All right, well, we've done it. Wait, what do you guys think? Was that accurate? Is that accurate that she did say that white people are colonizers and it's okay to call white people colonizers because that's her definition? Even if she says that's not something that like she's going to die on, that's the definition that she just uses. I'd say it's heavily inferred. It's very heavily inferred. I mean, I would think that she didn't say that she believes that all white people benefit from colonization, but I would think that she would agree that at least like 99.9% of white people benefit from colonization in colonized countries. So if that's the case, and if you benefit from white supremacy in colonized countries, then you are a colonizer, and that's like white, and that's synonymous with white. And like people brought it to her and she said, I can't believe people would think that I would be like, I'd be ashamed to say that. So it seems like she at the very least like supports it in some way. Like, I don't know. This doesn't feel wild to say that this is something that she supports in or believes in.
What?
You don't have it, do you?
Not on hand.
Okay, well, no one does because it doesn't exist.
But she said white people are colonizers. How is this not an endorsement of...
Who colonized the world, Gary?
Europeans.
Okay, and what did Europeans look like?
Like you.
So, white, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's okay to call white people colonizers. That's racist, hurts our movement, and pushes away potential new leftists.
Gary, I already explained this. That's not what Professor Flowers was saying. Her point was that colonization is an ongoing process, and choosing to ignore this fact makes it impossible for us to truly reconcile with its legacy. Anyone with a baseline understanding of these issues that saw the debate understood that this was the perspective she was coming from, and that Vaush trying to frame this as somehow being racist against white people was, to use an Among Us term, sus.
Why is the context of oppression irrelevant? Why is the context of who has power irrelevant?
Because, and I'll say it once more, and this is why you should really check your racism, my friend. White people and colonizers aren't the same group.
Well, that's true. That's true though. You can say there's heavy overlap. I don't think anybody's gonna disagree with that. But it's not like the same thing. They are the same, Vaush. I don't agree. And I think we actually get to some pretty bad territory if we say that we agree. I should reach out to Noah. I didn't reach out to FD. FD was just in chat. I don't actually agree, and I do think that we can get to some pretty bad territory if we just agree, right? And here's like kind of what I mean. I don't think that we should be pushing entire actions onto racial groups. I think that only comes to bad outcomes. And the thing is, what some people will try to do is that they'll try to push all the negative onto like one group, but none of the positives, or like downplay, or like what we'll call like a positive or something, right? So let's say this. If we say that colonization, if you're white, you're a colonizer, okay? What's the opposite end of that? Genuinely curious, like what's the opposite end of that? If you're white, you built Western society. Or if you're white, you brought like algebra into the world. If you're white, you helped to like move the world into you help like move the world into like the age of like medicine that we have right now. Like white people built like modern medicine, white people built like modern technology. If you want to go down this route, you're going to have to say that as well. Which I don't. Yeah, algebra is not white. Well, maybe not. No. Freaking goddamn fucking what's the guy? Apple boy, like apple shitter, Isaac Newton. Then you were partially responsible for Isaac Newton's bullshit. Calculus. Yeah. Also means that there's no level of violence against white people that wouldn't be justified. That is also true. Listen, I've dated white people before, if someone just like shot my white girlfriend because she's like deemed a colonizer, I think I would feel bad. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but personally I would feel bad about that. Hot take, I do think that'd be pretty sad. Think? Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty presumptuous to presume that you'll know exactly how you feel like 100% in any given moment for something that hasn't happened. Now, I haven't had a girlfriend get shot in front of me before, so I don't know necessarily exactly how I'll feel to like 100% in that moment, but I do think I'd feel pretty bad about it. Murder is bad. That is true. Many people are saying this. I could be wrong. I mean, I don't think I'm wrong, but I do think that I do think that I have no clue how I'll feel exactly in that moment. Does the Ottoman Empire count as white? It does today. It does today. So yeah, I just don't like that idea. Or if this is the case, and I think Vaush tried to explain this to her, if this is the case, then you'd say like murder is like a black people problem in the US, right? Because you could say like the material conditions that made it so, like, sure, okay, but that like happens through, but still like that happens through people. I don't think that's like an accurate way to talk about the world, nor is it beneficial, and it seems a little cringe, if I'm going to say so myself. I don't think that's like a good way to talk about the world. It doesn't seem beneficial at all. Black people did make blues and rock, which is pretty sick. I don't listen to either of those, but they seem pretty sick. People seem to like them.
People who are white in South Africa are regular humans who live their lives. They are not physical.
Colonization is still happening. Like,
physical,
America.
They are, yes,
is
the
still
concept of colonization is happening. You do not then get to attack 6 million ethnic minorities in a country. That's what you're doing. You're taking a sociological problem and making it a race problem, which is, by the way, what conservatives do to black people.
This is true. I played Cuphead. Jazz is pretty sick. Black people did that. I did that. Me. Also, I mean, she kind of was saying that you could maybe not. They wouldn't. I mean, she said it would be their choice, and they should be able to have the choice to be able to commit that genocide. I mean, I think her and Noah both said that we have the obligation to stop them as well. But still, I don't know. Seems pretty cringe.
In this debate, Vaush employed the argument of the fear of retribution because, as members of the gamer zone tend to do, he was testing the limits of her moral framework using an extreme hypothetical, which is a very normal thing to do. It's one of the most normal things you can do, actually.
So you're saying that hypotheticals have no value? What, are you too stupid to understand how they work? The ability to imagine made-up scenarios and argue about them is what distinguishes sentient life from animal.
Shut up, dude. No, I don't have a problem with hypotheticals as a concept. I do, however, have a problem with people being framed as endorsing the extreme outcomes of these hypotheticals.
It's not even like anything PF.
I don't like this. I think, and this is the first time I'll use this for Noah, I think that this is cringe. I do think that this idea is cringe. I don't like that people are held accountable for the logical conclusions of their ideology. I think they should be. This is the logical conclusion of your ideology. You decided to have this ideology. That is the logical conclusion. It's like, I mean, should we not hold people accountable for the logical conclusion of their ideology as long as the logical conclusion never comes to fruition to where they're actually going to like engage in that behavior? It's like, I don't know. I'm Irish. Am I a colonizer or colonized? You're both. So you'll be half killed. Sorry, bestie. Maybe they can fallout you where you get shot, but then you get to wake up again. Depends north or south. Yeah, there you go. I do think I do think like the logical conclusion of your like political ideology is important. Like just because I don't think you should be like left off the hook just because you haven't thought about what you believe actually means. Honestly, I think that you should be held more accountable as like a political figure if you haven't done any work to like understand what the logical conclusion of your like ideology means. The thing is, like, sure, we can say that here in like our like comfy rooms and everything, oh, this doesn't matter, but like when push comes to shove, if someone actually believes that, and when put in that situation, maybe not us or maybe not that person specifically, but if someone just like them in a situation that happened in the past and or can happen in the future was in their place, they'll do something that's horrible and wrong. They'll do something that's wrong. I'm sorry, okay? Like, when Non-Compete said that the Nazis were wrong, not because the Holocaust was bad, but because they were wrong that Jewish people were controlling the banks, I think that's a scary thing. Do we not? Do we not think that's a scary thing to believe? that the Holocaust was bad, not because it was bad, but because we just believed that the Nazis were wrong in their initial hypothesis? Don't you think that's a really scary thing to believe? Don't you think that leads to some bad outcomes? Doesn't that mean that, oh, he's white, fuck. Doesn't that mean that if you believe that the Nazis were right, like back in the Weimar Republic, that you'd be like all for the Holocaust? Don't you think that's a bad thing? And like, sure, it's like a hypothetical now because we live in our like comfy rooms. But for like the Jewish people living in Nazi Germany, that wasn't just like a fun hypothetical. That was like the world that they lived in.
Said was that extreme either. It's ethnic cleansing.
When they never would have argued for them in the first place had they not been brought to the table by Vaush, or which
they never would have argued for them if not brought to the table. I mean, maybe not for Vaush, but it seems like if they agree with the logical conclusion of like their ideology, it seemed like they would have argued for it.
Whichever debate lord they are encountering. In multiple conversations since, Vaush has attributed this escalation in rhetoric to Professor Flowers. Escalations like equating land back to genocide. Here he is talking with indigenous activist Morgan Khashoggi about land back. Morgan and Vaush are referencing Professor Flowers in this clip.
It feels like a very virtue signaling thing sometimes to be very in favor of decolonization. Like, yeah, pro land back. But then when it actually comes to talking about these issues and actually like reconciling, like sometimes it can get, I think, a little bit, well, there's a clear dissonance. So
it's not that people are getting it so wrong. It's just we need to smooth some wrinkles out so that people don't start using really inflammatory language to describe how we feel about our own problems.
The weird part is that Professor Flowers never spoke on these issues on the terms of genocide until she spoke with Vaush, which should be of no surprise to anyone familiar with Debate Bros. Over the course...
I mean, well, the thing is, even if that's true, I don't know. Like, is that Vaush's fault? Yeah, because here's the thing, like, genuinely, is that Vaush's fault? Because the thing is, if I never talk about how much I hate horses, but then someone who likes horses comes on, and now I start talking about how much I actually hate horses. Like, is that their fault for bringing up horses, or is it my fault for hating horses in the first place? And I don't think simply because she hasn't spoken about it before does not mean that she's off the hook for just not. How much do you hate horses? I didn't talk to a Tinder date again after we met because she liked horses.
Course of all these interactions, the first time the word genocide is ever used is here at 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
You're kidding? Nah. She was like, what do you think about horses? I'm like, bro, I hate horses. They're kind of cringe. They're like dogs, but they're more scary because they can like kick you in the head. If I've been kicked by my dog before, I'm not dead. If a horse kicks me, I'm freaking dead. They're like just as dumb as dogs, but like more dangerous, and they're kind of weird. They're kind of weird looking too. And then she was like, oh, I like really like horses. And I'm like, oh, I did not back down though. I'm not like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't say I'm sorry. Like, bro, I don't like horses. Sorry. I didn't say sorry. I didn't like horses. And then I drove her home and we never spoke again. You upset the horse girl? Yeah, that's true. I did upset the horse girl. Aren't you a Vaushite though? Many people do not say this. I watch Vaush every now and again. I'm a horse girl. Yeah, we saw those bad dragon stickers.
Into their debate, and it's not mentioned by Professor Flowers.
When you take a look at a lot of black separatist communities, there are a lot of underlying reactionary tendencies like homophobia, anti-Semitism. It seems like the fundamental bones are pretty similar, and then when you get into the logistics of creating an ethno-state, there's not really any way to do that without genocide, you know? Like, take South Africa, right? I mean, it's all well and good to talk about living free of your oppressors, but when you break apartheid in South Africa, there are millions of white people living in that country. Like, what do? Do you just, like, ship them all out? Do you build camps? I mean, it seems like this logic always leads down a really bad road.
Isolate that last quote. It seems like this logic always leads down a really bad road. That conception right there, that limit testing ideology, is precisely what causes the inflammatory language to start being used in these conversations. The same language that the actual land-backed activists said was causing so many problems.
Using really inflammatory language to describe how we feel about our own problems.
There's not really any way to do that without genocide, you know?
Discussing ideas in this manner by
didn't this discussion happen after the Professor Flowers discussion, and she's talking about how Professor Flowers is using inflammatory language to talk about how they feel about their issues? But now Noah is saying that her words actually denounce Vaush either to or instead because he's the one actually being inflammatory? Is that what's happening right now? Is that right? Is this discussion that happened after the Professor Flowers discussion, right? Yes? Oh my gosh. So is the Native American activist wrong? Is the minority wrong? Is she wrong? He's calling her a hypocrite? It does sound like he's calling her a hypocrite, I guess. Is she wrong then? I don't know. It sounds like he's saying that she's wrong. Or at the very least should expand it to Vaush too. I don't know, man. I don't think I'm lost, but I don't know. I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly.
Pulling them to the extremes in a combative context is especially damaging with topics like black separatism, a topic that the white online left has repeatedly demonstrating having very little knowledge about, and thanks to Vaush and others, very little willingness to inquire further. Vaush just says they're Nazis in reverse, and everyone's like,
well, I don't know. He didn't he talk to some people about it? Anyways, here, let's put this on pause like super duper quickly. What day is it? Is it the 8th? Was this today? It is today. It's not video essayists versus debate bros. It's not leftist infighting. It's a few dudes. They're clones and portions of their fan base. They're not the left. I'm not the left. We're all entertainers and leftists with leftist content.